Hello and welcome back to Kilmainham Courthouse. As I mentioned in our last film, to mark the 200th anniversary of the opening of the courthouse, we're going to do a few smaller films just about different aspects of the building and its history. So at the moment we're looking towards the judge's seat, but if we look down here, we see a very, curious stairs leading down into the basement of the building. Now, these stairs originally led down to the holding cells where the accused would have been held as they awaited their trial. And they would have been brought up these stairs and they would have emerged up into the dock where the accused would have sat throughout the legal proceedings. Now, this dock was removed in 1969 along with docks throughout courthouses in Ireland. But I think you can imagine just how dramatic and theatrical it must have been for the accused to emerge up out of the bowels of the earth in many ways into the dock. And I suppose this is all part of the theatre of court cases and the law. So we're going to go and explore this area down below. We can no longer access it from up here. So we're going to head out of the courtroom and head to the back of the courthouse. As we pass, we'll see the gate into Kilmainham jail. And of course, a lot of the prisoners who went to the courthouse probably were being held in the jail. And from what we can see, they were just simply brought across. They weren't brought first to these holding cells. So not quite as dramatic. Those of you who are familiar with Belfast jail, there's actually a tunnel between Belfast jail and the courthouse across the road. And that tunnel actually, again, the prisoner arrived up into the dock, so a very dramatic event altogether. So we're heading now into the entrance to what was once the holding cells. And these were in use up until 1994. One of the ways we know that is a lot of the graffiti down here dates from 1994, so you tend to find that with graffiti. It often is relevant to, I suppose, to the last time that the space was used, because often it's painted over. So where we came in through there, that would have been originally the male holding cells. So you can see there the concrete or stone bench that the prisoners would have sat on. And then on the other side, you can see now it's just been used for storage, but this was for female prisoners. And they would have been brought then up these stairs. Originally, according to the plans, the stairs, there was a kind of a turn in it then into the dock. But you can see now, hopefully you can get a sense, you can see there the courthouse up above us. So you can imagine, as I said, just how dramatic that must have been, but also how terrifying as well for the accused prisoners. In some ways, I think it's quite a prejudicial thing to do in terms of the impression it must have made on the jury, and very intimidating. So we're going to head back down again, and as I said, you can see male and female, and there's two separate external entrances as well. But what we're going to do now is we're going to head back into the courtroom, and there we'll, or into the courthouse rather, and there we'll explore the last holding cells that were created in 1994, which I suppose to some of us feels like a very, very recent history. As we're out here, you can see here the outbuildings. These are now used for lectures and talks and meetings, but these would originally have been used as stabling for, presumably for the judge and the legal staff, but also for members of the Dublin grand jury who would have used this building as well, as we discovered in the last film. It's actually something quite quaint and cottagey feel about them. We can also see the back of the courthouse as well, and this really dramatic demi-lune window here in the middle, just up above the judge's seat in the courtroom. But anyway, we're going to go back inside and just have a look at and still probably the most modern bit of the courthouse, which is the 1990s holding cells. And again, we get to see this kind of really interesting relationship between the courthouse and the jail. For years, there were all kinds of rumours that there was a tunnel between the courthouse and Kilmainham jail, and there was a tunnel from Kilmainham jail and the buildings across the road. But from what we can see, there were no tunnels, unfortunately. So that's the entrance into the courtroom. So if we come around this way, we can see the 1990s holding cells, which are certainly very Spartan, but much nicer than the basement, which is incredibly hot. So we just head through here. I can see here everything in storage now that we're closed due to the lockdown. Here, get to see the toilet as well. But interestingly, this barred arrangement, I think, is what people expect from prisons. I think because it's very similar to what you see in films from the United States. So that's it for this video. So if you want to join me again, we'll be looking at other aspects of the courthouse, again, as I said, to mark the 200th anniversary of the opening of the courthouse in 1820. Okay, till then, stay safe.